Welcome to this video lecture. It's a continuation actually, and you see the combined effect of the previous video topics we have covered in the previous videos is this trigonometric functions of the reference angle. If you have an angle theta, its own reference angle, when you combine the reference, you take the trigonometric function of a reference angle to its own angle, they are the same, except for which quadrant the angle is actually falling. For example, in the second quadrant, because that is where it is interesting. In the first quadrant, everything falls out to be the same. Actually, the sine theta is equals to sine phi, when phi is the reference angle for theta. So, and everything is positive, and so there is nothing interesting to look at. Now we go to the second quadrant, and in the second quadrant, if you have sine theta, also, before we continue, remember this summary in one of at the end of one of our videos. All are positive in the first quadrant. In the second quadrant is only sine that is positive, and in the third quadrant only tan is positive, and then cosine is the only positive trigonometric function in the fourth quadrant. So going by this, we are in the second quadrant here. Definitely sine is positive. So sine theta is equals to sine, this is equals to sine phi, when phi is the reference angle for theta. Of course, phi, when we talk about the reference angle, phi, this is equals to sine, what is the reference angle? Is 180, yes, it's 180 degrees minus theta, and that is the reference angle, that is phi. So because everything is positive, so we have to accept sine is always positive here. But what about the cosine? Cos theta. This is the same thing as saying, but in the second quadrant, cosine is negative. Only sine is positive. And so, to continue with this, we're saying this is negative sine phi. But phi is the same thing as 180 minus theta. Now, coming to tan. Tan is also negative because only sine is positive in this quadrant. So, tan theta is the same thing as saying minus tan phi. And what do we mean by phi? Phi is the same thing as saying 180 minus theta. That's the given angle. Now coming to the third quadrant, in the third quadrant, everything is negative except tan. Tan is the only positive trigonometric function in this quadrant. And so, sine theta is equals to negative sine phi. And what do I mean by phi? You see, in the third quadrant, it is theta minus 180. Now, this is minus sine theta minus 180 degrees. I should be putting the degrees. Now, what about the cos? Cos is also negative in this quadrant, so it has to be minus cos phi, when phi is the reference angle. And we mean by phi, we mean theta minus 180 degrees. What about the tan? Tan is the only positive trigonometric function. Tan theta is equals to tan phi. Tan theta is equals to tan phi, when phi is the reference angle. And we mean this is equals to tan theta minus 180 degrees. Now in the fourth quadrant, And in the fourth quadrant, you have sine theta is equals to, only cosine is positive here. So this is equals to negative sine phi, when phi is the reference angle. And then this is equals to negative sine 360 minus theta. And we have cos theta, because it is the only positive trigonometric ratio, so we say this is the same thing as cos phi, and this is equals to cos 360 minus theta, and tan theta. So this is the same thing, but it's negative, so this is negative tan phi, when phi is the reference angle, and this is equals to negative tan, we mean by phi, 360 degrees minus theta, the given angle. And these are the basically the three trigonometrical quadrants where angles are sometimes negative and positive. But you see, in the second quadrant, only sine is positive. So the reference angle for sine, the reference angle for theta, when you take sine theta, is the same thing as sine of its own reference angle. Others are all negative because we're in the second quadrant. And in the third quadrant, only tan is positive. So tan theta is equals to the tan of its own reference angle. In the fourth quadrant, only cosine is positive, and so cos theta is equals to cos of its own reference angle. Now we are having an example here to solve. Given that sine theta is equals to 0.5, cos theta is equals to cos 40 is equals to 0.766, and then tan 75 degrees equals to 3.7321. Then we should evaluate the values of sine 2490. So A, we should evaluate sine 2490 degrees. Here we have to involve the use of calculator 2, as we have done before. So we just say 2490 divided by 360 degrees. The answer is 6.9, so minus 6, and then the answer multiplied by 360 degrees. Of course, here we are only using the remainder, so this is 330 degrees. But 330 degrees lies in which quadrant? 330 degrees. This lies in which quadrant? Of course, this lies in the fourth quadrant. And in the fourth quadrant, everything is negative except the cosine. Now, we have to find the reference angle to this. So, to find the reference angle, this is equals to, so since it is cosine, so we have minus, because we are talking about ACTS. Cosine is positive here, but we are dealing with sine, so it is negative. So 330, the reference angle. When you find the reference angle, that is when you begin to determine the sine. So what is the reference angle? The reference angle here, you are talking about sine. Because you are in the fourth quadrant, it is 360 degrees minus 330 degrees. And this is equals to minus sine. When you subtract, you have 30 degrees. From the options, from the conditions given, sine 30 is 0.5. Of course, you have sine 30 degrees. So you have, but you have to carry the negative sign along. So sine 30 is 0.5. You just say minus 0.5. And that's it. So we go to the B part of the question. And the B part of the question is saying that we should find cos 3460 degrees. So this is equals to cosine of 3460. So we use our calculator. 3460 divided by 360, the answer is this. So from the answer, you minus the positive part, and then you multiply by 360, and the remainder is 220. So you have 220 degrees. But 220 degrees now lies in which quadrant? This lies in the third quadrant. And in the third quadrant, almost everything is negative except tan. Everything is negative except tan. But here we are dealing with cos. So the answer is going to have a negative sign because it is cos here, not tan. If it were tan, then it will be positive. But because it is cos, we have to put negative. And we find the reference angle for 220 degrees. But in the third quadrant, it is the theta minus 180. 220 degrees minus 180 degrees. This is equals to minus cos. The reference angle is equals to 220 minus 180. So this is equals to 40 degrees. But from the conditions given, that cos 40 is 0.366. So, but there is a minus sign. So put the minus sign and just check the value for cos, and it is 0.766. Don't press the calculator for the values of cosine. Use the values given here. Whenever you solve, check the values in the condition. And this is the answer. Now we go to the C part of the question. And the C part is saying we should evaluate tan 2265 degrees. But so this is equals to tan 2265 divided by 360, and then minus the whole part, which is 6. The answer times 360 degrees, and we have 105 degrees. So, but 105 degrees is falling in which quadrant? This is falling in the second quadrant. And in the second quadrant, everything is negative except sine. But here we are dealing with tan. So this is negative also because it is not sine. So we have minus tan. What is the reference angle now? It is 180 minus theta. So 180 degrees minus 105 degrees. But this is equals to minus tan. When you subtract, you have 75 degrees. This is equals to minus. You know, check tan 75. Is it in the options? Yes, in the condition it is given that tan 75 is equals to 3.7231. So this is equals to this is equals to 3.7321 degrees values. Thank you.